Hi everybody, welcome back to part 5 of my Advanced Dungeons and Dragons tutorial. Uh, this is the Night Breeze, and tonight, or today, however, whatever time you're watching this, we're going to be talking about the Barbarian. Again, it's an optional class. It was brought out in the Unearthed Arcana, which was a second, or a, what is the word I'm looking for? A support book, or supplement. That's what it's supplemental. Um, it's actually a pretty good book. It's got a couple different classes, some extra spells, and magic items, all good stuff in it. So, but the Barbarian obviously is a subclass of your fighter. You know, they're going to be adept in many skills for surviving in a hostile wilderness. Think of your Native Americans, your tribesmen in South America. Of course, you got your Viking, the classic Viking and Scandinavian, um, but yeah, so you get them from all over. So their skills are going to include some rapid movement, climbing, use of weaponry. What they call sixth senses. They're going to be able to tell when something's not right in their environment, and then quite a few others. Now, your barbarians are obviously going to be strong and they're tough, so they have to have a strength and constitution score of not less than 15. Their dexterity has to be 14 or higher, but their wisdom can be no greater than 16. There's no prime requisite with the barbarian, so they don't get the bonus XP, but they do have a way of getting bonus XP, which I'll discuss later. Also, a player character barbarian can't be what they call a character of two classes, or dual class, multi-class. In this original piece, they say barbarian has to be human. But in one of the other game worlds, for sure, I believe Dragonlance, in Dragonlance, I know Kinder can be a barbarian. I'm not sure if there was other races, but I do remember Kinder. So, now for some of the benefits they get. Barbarians get a bonus to their AC of 2 for every point of dexterity over 14, which replaces the standard dexterity bonus. So you start off here at 10. At 15 or 4. Let's see. At 15 dexterity, it's going to be an 8. At 16, it'll be a 6. 17 at a 4, and an 18 dexterity will give you a 2 armor class. And that's before any armor. But that only works if they're not wearing bulky armor. If you're wearing fairly bulky or bulky armor, it's only a +1 per point over 14. It also, the reaction attack adjustment for dexterity does remain the same no matter what. Also, a barbarian gains 2 hit points per constitution point over 14, as opposed to the normal. So again, you got your +2 at 15, +4 at 16, +6 at 17, and +8 hit points per level at an 18. And that is on top of the fact that they have a 12-sided hit die. So potentially you could start off at level 1 with 20 hit points. They can be any non-lawful alignment. But again, it says they have to be human. The only languages they get to start off with is their tribal tongue and the common tongue. The language everybody gets to speak. If a barbarian wants to learn how to read and write, you know, they got to be taught. They don't start with being able to read or write. But after creation, the barbarian can learn languages according to their intelligence, just like any other character. When they move, they have a base movement rate of 15, which most characters have a 12. Then that goes down potentially with races. Dwarves, I think, are a 9. As an example. They do use the combat table for normal fighters, and may use any kind of weapon, shield, or armor. But, again, bulky armors reduce their armor class bonus. Now, initially, they have to. If they're using weapon proficiencies, it must include a hand axe, a knife, and a spear. And additional weapons based on the native area may be chosen by the DM. So, they do. Barbarians do start off with more hit points on average, but they also stop gaining hit dice quicker. Once they hit level 8, then they just start getting a flat amount of hit points. Most classes get to like level 10 before that happens. And I mentioned in the last episode about the titles at each level. With a barbarian, it's just barbarian, flat out. Now, in general, barbarians hate magic and people who use it. At low levels, they refuse to employ any sort of magic item if they recognize that it's magical. They often seek to destroy magic items. And here's where their bonus XP is. If they are successful in destroying a magic item, they receive an experience point award, as if they had gotten that magic item. Magic users will be shunned initially and always viewed with suspicion. But clerical spells of the type used by shamans and witch doctors are not viewed that way. Though high-level clerical spells are suspect, Now, the natural abilities of a barbarian, make all of them to be able to attack creatures that would normally be immune to non-magical attacks, as they get stronger. At 4th level, a barbarian can affect a creature that needs a +1 or better weapon to hit. A +6 can strike at +2. And it increases, from there. At 12th level, they can attack creatures only hit by +5 weapons. Despite the ability to hit, they don't get any bonuses to hit or damage. That's just they're able to affect those creatures. They are the only player class that has that ability. They also have bonuses to saving throw. Plus, they get a +4 versus poison because they're so sturdy. +3 versus paralyzation, death magic, petrification, polymorph. Because of their sturdiness. +2 versus rod, staff, wand, and breath weapon. That I think is a combination of sturdiness and just fact that they try not to use magic. I don't know, but I'm assuming that's just mainly from they're so strong and healthy. Now, they don't start off with a bonus to their save versus spell, but they do gain a +1 for every 4 levels. Okay, so the primary abilities of the barbarian. They can climb cliffs and trees with the same chance as a thief of their level. You can also, or they can also start to climb walls of other kinds once they've had the opportunity to practice that particular type of surface. Hide in natural surroundings. Um, Now, if they're in surroundings that are very familiar to them, they hide as if they were a thief 3 levels higher, using hide in shadows. In unfamiliar terrain, it's a thief of the same level. Surprise. A barbarian will surprise opponents on a 3 in 6 chance. A 4 in 6 if they're in familiar terrain. And they're only surprised 10% of the time, or only 5% in familiar terrain. So they're not going to be surprised often, but they're going to surprise their opponents more often than not. They also they call it back protection. An attempt to attack from behind, including attacks by assassins and thieves, has a 5% chance per level of being detected and countered. So if they detect the back attack, which is a 5% chance at first level, 10% at second level, etc., they avoid the attack. So it becomes just a normal attack. No, you don't get bonus damage. They don't get the instant kill, whatever. They're also then entitled to attack the former back attacker, even though they may have already attacked that round. They're skilled in leaping and springing. They can leap up to 10 feet forward, 3 feet backwards, or 3 feet upward from a standing start. If they're able to move freely and get a running start, the leap can range from 16 to 21 feet, upward leap of 4.5 to 6 feet. Springing forward distance or an upward distance of 4 to 7 feet, depending on the surface used as a step to gain height. They have a 5% chance per level of detecting illusions. But that chance will never exceed 75%. They just realize something is not right. They also have a 25% chance of detecting any sort of magic other than illusions. But they have to concentrate for 1 round, and it'll apply to items or spells, but not to if you got a mage just standing over there, they're not going to detect that it's a mage. For each level above first, the barbarian gains an additional 5% to his chance, but it can never exceed 90%. And the type of magic is never revealed. When dealing with other barbarians, a barbarian adds his level of experience to his charisma score to get an effective charisma effect on other barbarians. Comeliness does not affect, nor is it affected by that ability. But, barbarians are going to look on a higher level barbarian more favorably. They also possess some secondary skills, but are generally not usable in areas that are unfamiliar to the barbarian. But some of it can be used after about a month of continued exposure. Survival. They have the necessary skills to survive in the wild. Hunting, trapping, gathering food, building shelters, etc. Fire building. First aid. They can bind wounds, set sprains or broken bones, and make natural antidotes and cures for diseases. This means the barbarian immediately regains 1 hit point, and thereafter he regains hit points twice the normal rate. So per day resting, they get 2 points, and they get 1 point per day, even if they're active and adventuring. They can also bind wounds to prevent further loss in hit points of other characters. That first aid restores 1 hit point immediately, and then increases the hit point recovery by 100% if the barbarian continues to administer aid and cures. When dealing with natural poisons and illness, they have a 10% chance of figuring out a cure. If the poison or disease is known, the chance increases to a percentage equal to 50 plus the victim's constitution score. They have outdoor craft, which include plant and animal detection as a third level druid. Direction, they can figure out what direction they're facing, and they have a chance to predict weather as if they're using the spell that by that name cast by a third level druid. And they have tracking equal to a ranger of the same level, but they can only do it outdoors. And finally, a barbarian will have one or more of the following tertiary skills, depending on the locale, culture from which they come from. That'll be determined by your DM. They might have animal handling. Usually, it's restricted to dogs. But it could include wolves, large birds, giant lynxes, etc. They're basically they can handle and domesticate wild animals. Horsemanship, skilled in riding a horse and using them in combat, whatever. Long distance signaling, they're using the signal method of their native land. Might be drums, could be smoke signals, mirror flashing, whatever. Running, they're able to run at full speed, twice the normal movement rate for not less than 3 full days before having to rest for a day. Their endurance will be twice the normal for movement. Small craft paddled, small canoes. Craft rowed, that's going to be your larger wooden boats, and that could be the rowing or sailing of those boats. Sound imitation. Some barbarians can mimic various sounds like bird calls, that sort of thing. And then finally, snare building. They can create deadfalls, pits, other traps for large, or very large animals. Or for, careless adventurers, if need be. Now, each barbarian is going to depend on their native territory. So it is mandatory a barbarian character comes from some out-of-the-way barbaric state. As they put here, typically they are cavemen, dervishes, nomads, or tribesmen. But, okay, as a barbarian increases level, they do gain some more abilities, some of which have been already talked about, but some limitations are relaxed or lifted. So, at second level, a barbarian can start to associate freely with a cleric. At third level, they can start to use magic potions. At fourth level, they can use magic weapons. And plus, they can strike creatures hit only by a +1 weapon. And gain +1 to saving throw versus spells. Okay. +5, they can use magic armors. At level 6, they may associate with magic users if necessary. If they absolutely have to, they can tolerate being around a wizard. And they can hit creatures affected only by the +2 weapons. At 7, they can use weapon-like miscellaneous magic items. At level 8, they may associate with magic users occasionally. They still don't trust them all the way, but, once in a while they can work together. And they can strike creatures hit by a +3 weapon, and they have a +2 to their save versus spell. Plus, they may summon a barbarian horde. And we'll get into that here shortly. At 9th level, they may use protection scrolls. Scroll like protect from dragon's breath, protect from poison, whatever. At level 10, they can use most magic weapons available for fighters, and then they can strike creatures hit by +4 weapons. And at level 12, they have a +3 to save versus spell, and they can strike creatures hit only by a +5 weapon. So, really, Barbarians are great as long as you're not going to have a mage in your party because, yeah, you're just asking for trouble, if you have a mage with them. So the Barbarian Horde. Upon reaching 8th level, they can summon a Barbarian Horde. It can only be summoned in the native territory of the Barbarian from other Barbarians of his background. A Barbarian Horde can number as many members as its leader's experience point total divided by 1,000. So a Barbarian who just reached level 8 can gather a 275 member Horde, and one who hits 9th level can have a 500 member Horde. So the Horde takes a week to gather and must have a stated purpose, such as tear apart the College of Magic, or rescue this princess from pirates, serve under a cleric in his battles. And deviating from the purchase may cause the Horde to disband at the DM's option. Members of disbanded hordes will return by the quickest and safest route to their homeland. A Barbarian Horde can be kept together for as many weeks as the Barbarian leader has levels. At the end of that time, it's usually disbanded. An exception can be made if large amount of treasures are distributed. If the leader has an effective charisma of 23 or more with respect to the Barbarians. If the leader of the Horde is a tribal leader, or if an unattained goal is in easy reach. So, if it's, we're going to go out and we're going to tear down this town, and you're right at the edge of town, run out of time, it's not going to disband. They're going to keep going. Each of those special situations that apply would extend the Horde by 1 to 2 weeks at the most. So it's just a short term to hold it together. And a tribal leader who has his Horde disbanded will not receive a warm welcome next time he goes home. They're not going to be happy. In addition to the normal Barbarians of the Horde, the leader of the Horde will gain 2 aides, each with a level equal to half his level. Each of those aides will have 2 assistants, 1/2 of their level. So an 8th level Barbarian would have 275 men plus 2 4th level aides and 4 2nd level assistants for those aides. The Horde may include shamans, witch doctors, clerics, depending on the nature. Barbarians, shamans, and witch doctors gain wisdom bonuses and may use magic items of any sort as applicable. Normal clerics will have full spell capability, but in all cases, Barbarian ability score statistics apply. They have a note here, Barbarian clerics are always non-players. So, basically, the Horde is your, raiding party, or, I fought actually in one game, though that was technically not a true Horde, because it didn't take time to gather them together, but we had a party adventuring in a barbarian area, and we had a wizard in the party that was not the brightest bulb in the bunch. We were outside of we had ducked into a burial tomb that kept the barbarians away from us. They were watching us, but they weren't going to enter the tomb. And we'd already pissed them off. I don't know how we did it, but they were after us. And The wizard decided it'd be a smart idea to cast a fireball spell from out of the tomb at the barbarians, which pissed them off, and we ended up getting away, but we were facing with somewhere around 150 barbarians. We managed to escape, but it was by the skin of our teeth. And said wizard died in his sleep that night. A bard in the party decided it'd be a good idea to insert a dagger into him while he slept. For almost killing the entire party. But, now, playing a barbarian, there's a lot of ways you can do it. And, a lot of people will play the barbarian as a unintelligent warrior, just right up front, bash him, not thinking about anything of that. And that's not totally bad. But remember, there is no limit to a barbarian's intelligence, just his wisdom. Even there, his wisdom can be a 16, I believe it said, which is not bad. Let me just scroll up again and double check that. Yeah, they can have up to a 16 wisdom, which is still pretty wise. But, if you are portraying him as stupid, even though he may be, an 18 intelligence, he may be, smarter than your party wizard, or any other buddy in the party. But how great is it walking into a town where he's expected to be stupid? People are not gonna. People are going to talk more because they don't think he'll understand them. What they're talking about. Good way to gain information. They'll underestimate the intelligence. That is actually one of the great ways of screwing with people. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know these are kind of dry. Not a lot of excitement in these. But, by understanding the class a little bit, it helps you picture in your mind what you want to do. So, with that, as always, if you enjoy it, leave a like. Tell your friends. They may enjoy it. And, if you haven't already, please sub to my channel. And click that notification bell. Make sure, you get notified when I upload videos. But more importantly, I always ask, please leave a comment. I do enjoy seeing your comments. It just makes it worthwhile for me. And I don't care if you don't like my content, tell me. If you like my content, tell me. However you are. So thank you all for tuning in this episode. And I'll hopefully have a new one up soon. So, the next episode, just to let you know, is going to be on the Bard. And in first edition, which is what I'm basically discussing right now, the Bard is a very special class. Very few will ever make a Bard. But it's good to know what the Bard can do and how to do it, so you can start off correctly. Start off from the beginning, planning it, because it's not something you do just by accident. And on that note, have a great time, everybody. Just, reach out to your friends. If you've played D&D, you know how much friends can mean to your games. And just outside the games, reach out to somebody. Who knows? Maybe find a friend that can play with you. So thank you all. Have fun. And join soon. Bye.